Let's roll. Welcome back to Two Marks and a Spark. We are really late doing this show because we
Very
had
late.
so many technical difficulties after night two of WrestleMania. It is unbelievable, but we're here. We're going to talk about night two. We're going to talk about the Raw after WrestleMania because that just ended. And
Better
man,
late than never, as they say.
that was a 3 hour episode of Raw. Let me tell you what.
Yeah, they filled up just about the full 3 hours this time. I noticed
Uh,
that they were throwing the closing credits up on the screen, and Paul Heyman just kept. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm giving it away. They just kept talking.
yeah, they just kept talking and then they started fighting and everything happened. So WrestleMania Night 2 started with the triple threat for the Women's World title. We had a bit of a surprise here because I think we all kind of expected them to somehow find a way to get the belt back on Rhea or smack it on Bianca or whatever. They did none of that. These three had a very good match for 15 minutes. And Io ends up getting the win with a moonsault on top of Bianca as she was covering Rhea.
Yes.
This couldn't have gone any better if they wanted it to, I don't think. 2025 is the year of the triple threat. Somebody I follow on Twitter said that earlier, and I kind of agree with them because look at how many good triple threats we've had just since the start of the year. um,
Yes. I thought this was pretty good. I didn't really. I can't remember who I predicted as a winner in this one, but
I think you picked Rhea.
okay, I
I
believe
think we
you're
both.
correct.
I think
Yes,
we both did.
but yeah, it was a good match. Uh, really, really well done, I thought.
We then had a shockingly good match. I expected this to just be a disaster. It was
Right.
not, and that was Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. I expected this to be an all-out shit show.
I I
Wasn't.
love seeing Kerry King was there to play him in. Kerry King, lead guitarist from the band Slayer. Well, I've been a fan of Slayer ever since their third album, Rain and Blood. Or I'm sorry, yeah, Rain and Blood. And if you like thrash metal, doesn't get any better than Slayer.
Well, I did not expect this match to be good at all, and it was very good.
Yes, it was, and I did not expect that Drew McIntyre would win, but I'm so glad he did. He hasn't had a win in quite a long time.
It's felt like it's been a while, but he gets one here. He pins Priest in about 14 minutes. This match was really good.
Sin
No
City
complaints here.
Street Fight, they called it,
Yeah, and it worked out.
even though technically they weren't in Sin City.
They were in Vegas.
No, no, they were in Paradise, Nevada, which is an unincorporated town in Clark County adjacent to Las Vegas. Just to be technical for no reason.
Well, next from Paradise, whatever the hell it is you just said, Nevada,
Right.
they had a fatal four way for the Intercontinental title. This went 10 and a half minutes. It probably could have gone another 10. Um, it
I
was
loved it.
it was Balor, Penta, Dominic, and Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental title. This really should have had more time.
Yes.
Why it didn't when you look at the rest of this show, I don't know, but this
Yes.
should have had more time.
It was great. And I was very, very happy with the ending. Very
I think
pleased to
everybody
see
was.
Dominic win. And boy, what a big pop from the crowd he got.
Shockingly large pop.
Yes, I think his popularity has grown so much. He's gotten so good.
Um,
Matter of fact, I've got a good friend who's a wrestling fan down in Missouri. As soon as that match was over, he had to call me up right away and was screaming on the phone about how excited he was. You know,
well, I hope he has a long run. I don't think he will, but I hope he does.
yeah,
We then had the surprise of the night, maybe not really, because there was a couple more coming that we didn't know about yet, obviously. But Randy Orton comes out for his open challenge. We all kind of assume it's going to be Solo Sikoa or Nick Aldis. It was
right.
neither. Uh, they start panning up the ramp, and that's when I start getting the inkling This might be Joe Hendry.
Mhm.
Because when they did that long pan shot up the ramp, I was like, is this Joe Hendry? And then they open those two big doors they had on the stage. And who the fuck is standing there?
Yep.
It's Joe fucking Hendry.
There you
It's the
go.
TNA heavyweight, the TNA World Heavyweight Champion has
Yes.
crossed the line. He
Right.
has gone to WrestleMania.
That's what they kind of like your forbidden door type thing, right?
This match was only 3 minutes, and it is the best 3 minute match you have ever seen in your life. I mean, just perfect.
Yeah.
It was pretty much 50-50. Orton would get some spots. Hendry would get a spot or two. Orton would get a spot or two. Orton wins with an RKO out of nowhere.
Yep.
This was beautiful. This was poetry in motion, and it should have gone another 10 minutes.
Yes, it was good. Unlike critics are saying they buried Joe Hendry, I think that's nonsense. I think losing to Randy Orton is nothing to be ashamed of at all.
Certainly not at this point.
No, no. Yeah, I thought it was a good match. You're right. It could have been a lot longer.
First of all, this isn't even his company.
Right.
Joe Hendry does not work for WWE. Let's get that out of the way. Second of all, it's Randy Orton. Third, this was not a title match. He's still
Right.
the World Heavyweight Champion.
That's right.
He's still the champion in his company.
Yeah.
Joe Hendry will go on Impact Thursday and get a large pop,
Oh, yes, definitely.
just as he did at WrestleMania. It's fine, everybody.
Yeah.
What wasn't fine was the booking of this next match.
Yeah.
AJ Styles and Logan Paul. First of all, this match was too fucking long. Um, it, this match had the same problem that Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton had. Nobody cared.
Well, there wasn't really a strong storyline leading up to this. So, you couldn't get really, these are both guys are good wrestlers. It's just, they failed to, not enough hype, actually, just not enough hype, not enough story going into this. It could have been a lot better. I like the fact that they're getting Karrion Kross more involved because he's, you know, been, they've been putting him with AJ.
Yeah.
He's sort of like the bad devil of the one shoulder whispering into AJ's ear to come back to the dark side.
There's a lot of people that don't like Karrion Kross.
I never used to care for him, but he has grown on me. I like him more now than I used to. And I really would like for them to really showcase the guy and show what he can do.
If you listen to this guy in shoot interviews, he seems like the coolest dude ever who just really likes heavy metal. He
Yeah.
just he just really likes heavy metal and strangling people. Those are his two favorite things.
Well, that's my favorite, heavy metal and old country.
Well, then we had the strangest series of booking decisions I've ever seen in these next two matches. Well, sorry. Then we had Stone Cold come out and crash his go kart or his four wheeler into the barricade, almost kill a lady, uh, announce the attendance and leave.
Yes.
He was drunk by the time he got there.
Oh, I think he might have had a few. That's entirely possible.
DUI charges would have applied had he drove on the road.
Well, then they gave beers to the announce team too.
And then we had Lyra Valkyria and a mystery partner against Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. What in the fuck were they doing here? I have no idea. So here's the deal, everybody. Bailey isn't actually hurt.
Yeah.
They
What
just
is up with that?
poofed her off the card.
I don't understand why. I was disappointed. I thought she had to have been hurt to do that.
And then, and then, and as if this couldn't get any more egregious, they send poor Becky Lynch out there, who seemed fairly happy in retirement, ladies and gentlemen. She was fairly content to just
Yeah. Yeah.
stay away.
I had just read a couple days before this that in an interview she said she wasn't interested in coming back to wrestling now, but that just goes to show you can't believe everything you read on the online.
It also shows you that money talks.
Oh yeah,
They offered her more money. She came back. Don't blame her.
yeah.
Want the
So
bag.
maybe that was just maybe she was just saying that to try to get more money. In which case, good for her.
I am very pro wrestlers getting paid.
Me too.
Well, anyway, Lyra and Becky end up winning the tag titles in like 9 minutes.
Yeah,
The
I was
match was
surprised.
good.
I was surprised at the title change. I did not expect that to happen.
The match was good, but I actually think the match they had on Raw tonight was better. Finish aside, I think the match they had on Raw was better. Um,
Yeah.
Becky, I think, just needed a match to get the ring rust off, and that's maybe why they did it 2 nights in a row, just to get
Oh
her
yeah.
up to speed. Because when you're not out there bumping around all the time, you do need a few matches to
Oh
get the
sure. I'm
calories
sure.
back. She's been gone for 12 months, so. And then we had a stinker, a smelly fart, a bad main event.
It was bad on purpose.
I
They
think it
did
might have been.
intentionally. You remember what John Cena promised he was going to ruin wrestling? He told us, didn't he? He
He,
said he was going to do
listen,
this.
there's a saying when someone tells you who they are,
Yeah.
listen to them.
I fully expected John Cena to win. I'm not pleased about how it happened because uh, what the hell's the guy's name that
Travis
interfered?
Scott.
Yeah,
Travis
Travis
Scott.
Scott. He's high on my list of people I don't give a flying fuck about, you know?
Very high.
Yep.
Well,
He's,
anyway,
but I'm sure before this is all over and done with, he's going to get his ass beat too.
probably. Well, anyway, the finish came in this match when Travis Scott goes to interfere. He gets hit with a crossroads and sells it like a motherfucker.
Yeah,
Credit to him. He
yeah,
sold the shit out of that.
yeah, he did. Well,
He
you
did
know, I
not.
think it's a lot easier to sell being hurt if you actually got some pain, and that had to be painful.
So Travis Scott takes crossroads. Cena ends up whacking Cody with the belt, wakes the ref up, who'd been down for what felt like eternity at this point.
That's right.
By the way, nobody came out to help Cody.
No,
Nobody. There
nobody.
was no Sami Zayn. There was no Kevin Owens. There was no Randy Orton. There was no Batista. There was no Stone Cold. There was no Undertaker.
Nobody.
Nobody's. Hell, they didn't even break Ted DiBiase Jr. out of prison.
There you go.
Nobody.
You know, yeah. Well, it ended the way I expected, but very mixed reaction to the crowd. No matter how much he shits all over him, there's a certain amount of the fans that are going to cheer for John Cena anyway. I
Very
thought it
true.
was
Very true.
interesting, going from one crowd to another. The same people will get booed out of the building or cheered.
Okay, let's transition into Raw here because this show was interesting for a lot of reasons.
Yes, it was.
There was a lot of call ups on this show. I don't even know how we're going to talk about all of them, but like everybody and their mother got called up from NXT tonight.
Yes, there was. And there was a couple of people I even forgot who their names were. Yeah.
Blame you. Anyway, so this show started with the longest recap package of all time.
Yep. Yep. It went on about 7 minutes, I think.
Then we get the all the talent showing up, and then John Cena comes out,
Yep.
and cusses out the new guy, the ring announcer, whose name I forget, Mike
Yes.
something. Anyway, or maybe it's Mark. I don't remember. Anyway, the guy looks like a jabroni. Anyway, this guy gets cussed out and is forced to redo Cena's introduction before Cena proceeds to tell the crowd they are not worthy and that they suck. And then he counts down how many dates he has left. I actually appreciate him doing this. We now know John Cena only has 27 dates left.
Correct.
I appreciate the transparency.
Yes. He said,
If
and he reiterated 27 appearances because you all said I can't wrestle, so I'm not gonna. Although I think that the Raw general manager may have something to say about that.
Well, John Cena's now on SmackDown because he won the SmackDown title. But
Oh, correct. Yes, yes, that's right. Well, you know what? But he still pops up on Raw. You see why I get confused?
yes. You're about to be even more confused when I tell you what I'm going to tell you here in a minute. Let me get there though. So anyway, he drops the mic, he goes to leave, and then Randy Orton, in classic Randy Orton fashion, just slithers into the ring, no music, no big hoopla, no nothing. He just slides into the ring, waits behind John, and hits him with what looked like the most vicious RKO you've seen.
Yep. Laid him out.
And then he celebrates with the title like he just won it, which he didn't.
Correct. Although it has been booked Saturday, May 10th at Backlash.
I don't know if that's official yet, but it will be.
Well, I did see it. I did see an ad online earlier today that announced that. So if that was real, then that's what we're probably going to get.
I think we're going to get that either way, whether that was real or not.
Yes.
Anyway, then we had a WrestleMania rematch immediately from the night before, which
That
was
surprised me too. Yeah.
Becky Lynch and Lyra defending against Liv and Raquel. This is some of the most hotshot booking I've ever seen. And like, part of me wants to say it's not working, but I think it kind of is. Hear
Yeah.
me out.
Sure.
This hotshot shit, yeah, it's stupid and it kind of sucks, but it is getting Lyra Valkyria over. It is doing that.
Mm-hmm.
That part is working.
Yeah. And she's very good.
Because Lyra is getting louder and louder reactions. So if their goal of this whole hotshot booking was to get Lyra over, well, I guess their plan worked because she's over. Congrats, guys. You did it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Liv and Raquel end up winning the tag titles back, which makes no fucking sense whatsoever fucking ever. And then
Yes.
speaking of makes no sense, the thing that happens next is really stupid.
Are you are you talking about the appearance of the New Day?
No, I'm talking about when Becky beat the shit out of Lyra.
Oh, yes, yes. I'm skipping ahead. Sorry. Yeah. What was up with that?
I would not be surprised if this is the start of a Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, Paul Heyman conglomerate faction thing. Because they've got Braun Breaker. I wouldn't be surprised if they get Roxanne Perez. Because it seems like she's main roster bound at this point. So I wouldn't be surprised if
Yes,
that's where they go.
that's very possible. She's the one that isn't she the one that Booker T is always pushing?
She's the one Booker T trained, so I hope
That's
so.
okay. That's why I thought that was probably the one he trained. So I know he's always been pretty high on her. Makes sense. definitely.
So anyway, then we get the New Day,
Yep,
and then here comes Alpha Academy. Oh, and A Town Down was out here too, I think. Or was that later? I think that might have been later.
yep. This was this was sort of a well then, yeah. And then there was a little bit of a surprise. I wasn't too surprised, but I was very happy. We had a nice return.
So anyway, it looks like New Day and Alpha Academy or whatever the hell they're called, the Dweeb
Yeah,
Academy.
right.
Looks like they're about to have a match, and then fucking Rusev's music hit.
Yes. And the crowd popped really big.
Okay.
I didn't
Um,
realize it had been 5 years.
I felt like it had been longer. Anyway,
I'm glad to
Rusev
see him
comes
back,
out.
and I hope they use him well.
Rusev comes out. The New Day run away. He beats the shit out of the Alpha Academy, and he leaves.
That's right. Yep. It was good to see him. I always enjoyed him a lot, and I thought that Miro in AEW was such a wasted opportunity because I thought he started off with a unique and interesting gimmick that they might have been able to do something very interesting with. But
I agree.
they they just totally wasted it.
Worth noting, no Lana on this show, so it seems like it's
Not
going to be
yet.
just.
That although I bet you that she's probably going to show up sooner or later somewhere.
Well, it's weird because they were getting divorced, and then they like
They
called it
got
off at like.
yes. Matter of fact, they were planning on getting divorced, and then they ended up renewing their vows. So they got back together. So
I
for
mean,
them,
good for them.
it's a happy ending.
So anyway, Io Sky comes out,
Yes.
and she cuts a pretty
Oh,
decent
oh,
promo.
oh, wait, don't forget we had just a little segment there of the Judgment Day. They had teased a split between Finn Balor and Dominic, but it's not going to happen yet. Seems like
It
all
will.
is good and harmonious within the family at this point. And then Io
So
Sky,
then Io Sky came out, and at this point, the surprises start coming hard and fast.
yes, yeah, it was hard to keep
If
up
you
with.
if you don't like saying what the fuck, don't watch this show because that's all you will say. Um,
Yep,
Io is talking, and then music hits that I didn't recognize because all the music in this company sucks. And it's fucking Stephanie Vaquer,
right. NXT
who,
Women's Champion, correct?
yeah, who comes out NXT belt and all. And they end up having a match
Yep.
for no title, for no reason.
Just booked it on the fly, as
Anyway,
they say.
this ends in a DQ when Roxanne Perez runs in and hits EO.
Right,
This is where I said a lot of call ups happened because if Roxanne was staying in NXT, I think she would have hit
right.
Stephanie.
And
I think
what
she would have.
Julia? Well, Julia, somebody.
It's just Julia. Julia runs out and she lays out
Oh,
Vacker.
she doesn't have a last
So
name, huh?
no, but
Okay.
I wouldn't. I'm thinking Julia and Roxanne Perez are probably going to end up in that Paul Heyman faction.
Yeah,
I just wouldn't be that
sure.
surprised.
Right.
I don't know what they're trying to do with that thing, but I wouldn't be surprised if it just ends up
Well,
being
then they start beating
massive.
up on poor EO.
And then here comes mommy. I mean Rhea. Uh, and Rhea comes down and she beats the hell out of everybody. The heels go flying around and they're gone. Rhea hands EO her title, says something to the effect of, I'll be back for that, and
Mhm.
leaves.
Yeah. So there we
And then
had,
we
let's see, we had we had five or six women wrestlers popping up so fast there. Yeah.
And then we got mayhaps my least favorite segment of the year.
Are you talking about the USO package?
The Uso package was fine. Jey Uso comes out and he cuts a promo, and it's like every other Jey Uso promo of all time. He's cut off by Sami Zayn, who just miraculously reappears.
Right. He wasn't on the show, but he was on WrestleMania, but he was obviously in town.
Obviously. And they end up
Jay also
celebrating.
came out. Brother Jay.
Jimmy came out and they all
Oh yeah,
celebrate. They
Jimmy.
leave.
Sorry, Jimmy.
Then we get a whole bunch of stalling, including an interview with AJ Styles that amounted to absolutely nothing.
Right.
Anyway, we come back and it's Gunther just absolutely going on a tirade.
Yeah. This was wild. This was
This
wild.
this got really, really intense, really, really quick. Um, Gunther's pissed. He starts choking out Michael Cole, which pisses Pat McAfee off.
Right.
So here comes McAfee. He like Superman punches Gunther, and all that did was make him mad. Really, that's all it did. Gunther just got mad. Anyway, he ends up choking out McAfee. Pat McAfee is choked out and helped to the back and not seen again.
Yes.
Now, I have the commercial free version of this show, so I saw them walking him to the back. I think a lot of what he was doing was selling, but I would not be surprised if he was in some legitimate fucking pain.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He did a great job of selling it, I thought.
So anyway, we come back and Joe Tessitore sells this like $1 million fucking dollars
Oh, yeah. Very, very good transition here. This made it so much more believable.
because Tessitore's out there and it's just Joe Tessitore for a minute and he's like, um, I'm not supposed to be here.
Mhm.
This is weird.
That's right. Yes, it was. Yeah, and
Adam
then
Pierce talked to,
then they talk about then they talk for a little while about having to exist in an unsafe working environment.
which if this is just an angle to get Pierce fired, I'm going to be pissed. But anyway, uh, Cole comes back out after Adam Pierce half begged him to go home. Pierce was like, fly home.
Mhm.
So both Tessitore and Cole are clearly shaken up and not at all pleased with the situation, but they're going to call the rest of this show one way or another. By the way, I know people don't like Joe Tessitore,
I
but
love it.
he was great tonight.
Oh,
Like, people don't realize how hard the spot they put him in is. They put him in an impossible position, and he just kind of figured it out. And I know
I
everybody's going to
I
say,
know a lot of people don't like him, and I don't understand it. I think he's one of the best they've had in a long time. Really like him a lot.
he's not better than Michael Cole, but
Nope.
fucking nobody is. But
He's a
nobody is,
totally
so
different
don't take
style,
that
though, than
personally.
Michael Cole. They're not even really doing the same thing.
No, they're not. Anyway, we then get Dominic Mysterio versus Penta. This was really fucking good, which, duh.
It was
Uh,
great. It was too short.
yes.
My one bitch about this show is that it was a 3 hour show, and this is only our third match. This was light on matches, which, around WrestleMania time that happens, because you got so much going on and everybody wants to talk. And in some
Well,
cases, talk and talk and talk and talk.
anyway, we had Seth Rollins come out and he didn't cut much of a promo at all
Nope.
because CM Punk came out. He's wrapping his wrists. He beats the hell out of Rollins. Then he starts beating the hell out of Heyman. Seth gets up, fights him off, beats down Punk. Crowd's chanting for Roman. Roman comes out finally. By the way, this is the point in the show where they aired the credits in the copyright graphic. So the show was over,
Right.
but they just kept going.
Yeah, they kept going. They were on a roll. You couldn't stop it there.
Heyman says that there's a new number one top star in the industry, and it's Seth Rollins. Reigns comes out. Reigns hits the Superman punch. Reigns is a house on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And then a man in a hoodie spears Roman Reigns as he's about to spear Seth Rollins.
Yep.
Or sorry, Paul Heyman. He was about to spear Paul, and he gets cut off by none other than Braun Breaker. We already talked about that a little bit. Braun Breaker spears Roman. Him and Seth have a bit of a stare down. Then as Punk gets up, Punk gets one too. He gets a spear. Everybody gets a spear. Roman continues to try to fight back. This would be in vain because he got speared through a goddamn barricade.
Mm-hmm.
And this show ends with Rollins, Heyman, and Braun Breaker standing over the carcasses of CM Punk and Roman
Yep.
Reigns.
I I did not see this coming. It was kind of a nice development. I enjoyed that.
Well, it's been theorized for a long time that this is where they were going to go after the bloodline with Heyman, with Braun Breaker, not necessarily Seth, but with Braun. The Seth angle makes sense because they had to do something with Seth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
I
this
don't
brings
know
up
if
a whole lot of interesting possibilities going forward, doesn't it?
I don't know if Roman is going to wrestle at Backlash. I don't think he is. I don't. Unless it's a tag match, and even then, I just don't see it. But the only match you could do if he was going to wrestle a singles, and I think you want to save this, is Roman Reigns versus Braun Breaker. But I don't think you want to do that at a Backlash.
Right.
I think you want to do that at a SummerSlam or a WrestleMania or a Rumble. You want to do that at a bigger show. I don't think you want to do that at a Backlash when viewership's going to dip.
Yes,
Um,
I agree.
Russ, I saw somebody talking about, I think I saw Kevin Nash talking about this. I saw a clip. He said the night one main event felt more important than the night two main event, consequences wise.
I would agree with that.
The night one main event did feel more consequential, but everybody's saying, well, they couldn't have done Cody and John on night one. You're probably right. They probably couldn't have done that because then you don't have any world title matches on night two other than the women's title, but you
Right.
could have figured that out. Also, I don't think they wanted two triple threats on the same night. It just didn't seem like they wanted to do that,
Yes.
which is why they had one on one night and one on the other. I mean, WrestleMania as a whole, I actually thought was a fairly solid WrestleMania. It was a fairly middling WrestleMania. It was not one of the best WrestleManias ever. It was not one of the worst WrestleManias ever.
Or
It
not
was
even
fine.
close to being the worst.
This was definitely better than the last time WrestleMania was in Las Vegas.
Oh, you could anything would have been better than that fiasco.
They could have sent me and you out there for 3 hours and it probably would have been better.
Oh my God, yes.
So I don't know.
Overall, how would you rate? What kind of a grade would you give WrestleMania?
B minus. It was fine.
See, I'm thinking it's better than C2. It's somewhere in the B area, but yeah, I can't. That's kind of where I was thinking B minus. It could have been better, but it wasn't by any means a horrible show. There were some fantastic matches both nights, but when you have a 4 hour show that's a pay per view, I do not watch the show with the expectations that I'm going to love everything. There's just no way. There's just too many different types of wrestling and styles of matches you can have, and there's probably not too many fans that love everything.
I I think they did about as good a job as they could. Because let's not remember, this card did get torn up by some injuries. Sami Zayn was hurt, and then to my knowledge, still is not fully cleared to come back. Um, Kevin
Right.
Owens got hurt. Kevin Owens got hurt.
Well, and we got other stars that are going to be out even longer. Bronson Reed's still out, and
Yep.
who else? I mean, they've got still got several major people hurt, and looking forward to him coming
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. Like people don't realize that this Mania card was completely different 2 weeks ago, probably 3 weeks ago, whenever Kevin Owens got pulled off. Like this card
Mhm.
was completely different. So they had to change things. Now the Bailey thing was just stupid. That was just plain stupidity.
I hope that they're
There's
planning on doing something with her.
one would hope, but I wouldn't get my hopes up.
Yeah,
But I would give Raw tonight an A minus. I actually thought Raw tonight was really good.
I would give it a B plus, A minus, right around in that area too.
I thought Raw was better than night two of WrestleMania.
Hmm. Overall, I'd say so. Yeah,
I
it.
I think they did a really good. I think they did a really good job with Raw tonight, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's a similar deal on SmackDown. I don't know when SmackDown's going back down to 2 hours. I think it's soon. I don't know when. Uh,
I haven't heard anything official.
I have not either. So Meltzer reported. So take this with a grain of salt. It's going to be sometime in early June.
Okay,
So probably right after Money in the Bank. I guess that makes
that's
sense.
quite a ways away,
It's
But
really
as
not.
always,
We're at the
the big show to always follow up WrestleMania is usually Backlash. So they're going to
right.
start building that up, I'm sure. And don't it and see next month I think we've got an AEW Double or
Yes,
Nothing
AW.
May 25th, which at this point I don't know nothing about that card, and I at this point don't care much about it, but I'll see what they do. They've got a few weeks to ramp it up.
Yeah, we still need to watch Dynamite, I think.
Yeah, I saw part of
Uh,
Dynamite, but we'll have to get caught up this week.
well,
We'll
next
get
week's
back to
show we
talking
are
about AEW on our next show, right?
yeah, next week we are back to normal. Um I know there's been like 50 shows this week and we're just as guilty of that as anybody. Um we're going to be back on our regular recording schedule, which means thankfully for Uncle Russ, we will be recording before his bedtime
Oh,
next
thank you,
week.
Michael. That's right.
Because as we record this, it is 11 o'clock at night, and I'm not exaggerating, which
Right.
has kind of become our normal somehow.
Well, here lately it has been. But like I said, this is WrestleMania season. So little
We
bit
may
different.
do this again for SummerSlam. Who knows? But probably not.
Correct.
Uh, Russ, are you excited for the possibility of Randy Orton versus John Cena
Yes, I
for
am.
the 1,473rd time?
Right. But I I don't ever remember seeing a bad Randy Orton match other than one.
The
And
Fiend.
that was the haunted house thing with the hanging baby dolls and all that shit. That
Are you sure his match with Alexa Bliss wasn't bad? I
oh
remember that.
oh yeah, those are both stinkers. But it's interesting. His two worst matches involve the firehouse, the Firefly Funhouse thing, right?
Yeah.
By the way, that's interesting. It has been several months since we've heard anything about the Wyatt Six. Do you have any idea? Is that just done, gone?
I would hope so.
Yeah, because it came and went pretty fast, and it came and went without much fanfare.
I really hope they do something with Joe Gacy. I
Yes.
really hope they do something with Nikki Cross.
Oh, Nikki Cross, she is such a good wrestler. She's never been taken seriously and really given a chance to show what she can do. She's a superb wrestler.
And I hope they figure something out to do with Alexa Bliss
Yes.
because they haven't been able to get her right for 5 years. So, they got to figure it out here, but they'll hopefully figure it out. I don't know. But Uncle Russ, I think this has been a very fun weekend.
Yes, it has.
But part of me is kind of glad this is over
Sure. You bet. Me too.
because these 2 night shows and then Raw right after, it's like
Right.
basically 3 nights.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just kind of sitting there like, oh my
Right.
God.
There also has been a lot of, and this is an ongoing issue, but you're finding more and more stories popping up about is WWE pricing themselves out of the market for many of their fans by their ticket prices being so high priced. It has really,
They are.
really gone up
The TV
incredibly high.
tapings, the TV tapings have been relatively unaffected. Like,
Right.
yeah, those prices have gone up, but the prices of everything event wise has gone up. So that's kind of gone up at a normal rate. But these stadium shows are where it's really, really bad.
Right. I mean, they were offering packages for, four people packages for the weekend at $10,000. Well, the average American family, there's absolutely no way possible that could ever happen.
So let's say it's a mom, a dad, and 2 kids, right?
Yeah.
2 brothers. And the dad and the kids love wrestling. And the mom wants to do something nice for the kid's birthday. Let's pretend they're twins for the sake of my
Mhm.
example. And their birthday is April 20th.
There you go.
Again, example. Well, if she's working a 9 to 5 and their dad's a construction worker,
No
they ain't
way.
going to WrestleMania.
Oh, no way. Nope. But they will pay $10 to go to an indie show, if there's one available.
Right. So you get what I mean. Like,
Yes.
and that's just one example. There's countless examples I could use there. That's just one of them.
Yes.
I don't know.
Well,
I
I
plan on
tell you
going.
what, it's like if they, they'll probably will adjust that. If they start selling less tickets, then they're going to have to adjust this. I had heard that neither night of WrestleMania this year sold out.
They did very well, but they did not sell out.
Yeah, which normally they sell out almost immediately. So I would say that I wouldn't be surprised if the prices had something to do with that.
Well, I still plan on going to SummerSlam both nights next year when it's in Minneapolis.
That's 2026.
Yeah.
Okay, I got time to save up my money then.
Me and Uncle Russ will be sitting front row on the floor with signs that say, fuck you, Carrion Cross, or something like that.
Oh, no, no, no. I wouldn't do that. You know, I'd probably come up with some kind of sign though.
Rusev will probably come out and like smack you in the face or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you never know. It could be. Things
Alistair
change
Black
so
might.
fast in pro wrestling by a year from this summer. The whole landscape could be totally different.
Well, Mariah May could be in WWE by then. Who knows?
That's right. She is rumored to be headed that way, and I'm sure it would be a good career move for her.
Big loss for AEW if that happens. Big
Nick
loss
Khan
for
made a
AEW.
statement recently saying that we are not going to hire people to put on the shelf. We are going to only hire people that we believe we can
That's
use.
bullshit.
I know. I couldn't believe I was here. And he says, that other company in Jacksonville, that's what they do. And I thought, oh, really?
Motherfucker, where's Andrade?
There you go. Exactly.
Where were the
The last
authors
time
of
I saw
Pain?
Andrade was at the AAA press conference thing. And I
Where were
thought
the
to
authors
myself,
of
he's one of the best wrestlers they've had. And neither one of these current companies, neither AEW or WWE seems to know how to use him properly.
where's where's the authors of Pain? Oh wait, you fired them. Um,
Right.
where's Dragon Lee?
Exactly.
Like
Good point.
they hire people and bench them all the
All,
time.
all the time. All the time.
People forget they brought Bo Dallas back and he didn't do anything for 16 months.
Yeah. So why were they paying him? That doesn't sound like good business to me.
I just don't get it.
Right.
Why say something that profoundly wrong? It's just false. It's just not true. Unless
100%.
they're changing their business strategy, which, if that's the case, okay, fine. But don't say it like you've never benched anybody, Nick, because you have constantly.
Right. It most definitely happens.
I swear it's like he doesn't watch the product.
Hmm.
It's like he doesn't watch the product, which maybe he doesn't.
Yes.
But, you know, and by the way, to anybody today saying, oh, the company will be better off when Triple H ain't booking anymore, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't, kids.
I I don't I don't understand that at all. I think that the booking is so much better. I think just about everything about the show is better without Vince McMahon there. Even Michael Cole is better without Vince McMahon in his ear.
And here's the thing, I just said it. The devil you know is better than the devil that you don't.
Exactly.
And I said that about Vince for a long time too, before we knew everything we know now. I said that about Vince too. I was like, guys, let's not be so sure about this whole Vince thing. If Vince leaves, sometimes devil you know is better than the devil you don't.
Well, and I think, even if Vince McMahon did not have all of the legal problems that he's having right now, the
Well,
fact of the
TKO
matter
would have
is,
forced him out.
I think that he was getting too old, and that his vision of the product was outdated, and
TKO
that
would have forced him out.
oh yeah, I just it seemed like the older he got, the tighter control he wanted, and what he wanted wasn't working for the company. Obviously, fans weren't buying it.
No, he essentially got fired,
Yeah, and I have
which,
no idea what the man is doing right now. No idea. There's rumors about him trying to start up some kind of a television company, but for all I know, he's just hanging out pooping on people, you know.
I wish you were kidding about that.
I know. I know. Man,
Uh,
you thought Tony Atlas having women walk on him was weird. Well, that sounds like a pretty damn mild fetish compared to what we read in in McMahon stuff.
I just, I don't know, man. And like, there's been rumors that Brock Lesnar is coming back. No, he's not.
I don't think I just I can't see it. I could be wrong, but I think it's
Now,
entirely possible that he is done with wrestling.
now, if you'd have told me a year ago that he might be coming back, that's a lot more believable.
Yeah.
Because at that point, at least, it's like, okay, he hasn't been gone that long. Like, it's not unbelievable that he comes back,
Right.
but he has been gone the longest he's been gone since his return in 2012.
Yes.
And I know they iced him out for a little bit during the pandemic, but that's because they didn't want to pay him all that money when they weren't drawing any crowds
Exactly.
because they couldn't because there was a global pandemic. I just I don't think people get it that like Vince didn't know what he was doing and didn't know how to say that. And that's how he got into the booking cycle he got into. And then he went got himself in legal trouble, so it didn't end up mattering.
Correct.
Well, we're finally going to end this show now. Thanks for listening to me and Uncle Russ blubber on for 10 minutes about stuff that you probably don't care about. Like, comment, subscribe. You're probably not watching by this point anyway. Um, but if you made it through this video, thank you. Uh,
You can't get off my lawn.
you know, that was on my bingo card for the night of things he was going to say. I
Okay.
think I just got bingo.
All
All
right.
right, folks. We'll see you next week. Till then, Damon, play our music.